I'm Mia Malan, the editor of Bhekisisa. For today's podcast, we're talking to Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng, who is a medical doctor, and she's also the vice chairperson of the Sexual and Reproductive Justice Coalition. We're going to talk about blessees. Why do we have such a market for blessees in South Africa?
If young people are not supported, for example, with issues like fees must fall, what do those young people do? Because they need to learn, they want to learn. When we know, for example, the NEFSAs always fall short of accommodation, nutrition. I understand sometimes how, we look at the blessee situation and say, well, how could you just do this? But often, what's the alternative? How do we have a society that doesn't have these young women who are often desperate, not always, having then pushed to have then making these decisions?
So if we look at potential solutions, would our new policy of providing free higher education to some part at least of society, would that help?
It would help some young women, but we definitely have to do the other part of the work, and that is, why are older men finding it okay to prey on vulnerable young women? And a lot of the times you'll find that, the commentary is around, how do we make these girls stop? These young women are degrading society, but no one is asking, why are the blessers taking advantage of vulnerable young women?
You raised an important point that we shouldn't put the sole responsibility on a woman not to do this, that the man, the blesser, is as important to address. Why do they feel so entitled?
We raise boys and young girls differently from the get-go. Things like, boys will be boys. You know how boys are. And it's like, no, boys won't be just boys. They need to be raised to be accountable. And we need to raise young women who must expect to be respected. The patriarchy, their lack of care for women, and the performance, and often violent performance of that patriarchy onto women goes unpunished, and there's no consequence. In fact, in this country, we elevate such people to positions of power. We need to ask ourselves as members of society, why are we allowing to let this behavior go unchecked and unpunished?